I gotta make sure I adjust the camera accordingly so you can actually get all the trees in here. Good morning, happy Sunday, folks. I actually have a lot to discuss. So I'll just quickly zoom past my low, my high, my active. Well, I shouldn't say zoom past. I'm going to talk about my low, my high, my active kindness. I just want to go through it quickly. Let's see. My low is that technically I was put in a position that I kind of was dreading all year, and I'll get to that in a few minutes. But my high is, by some crazy miracle, I pulled off the thing I was dreading most. If you don't know, yesterday it was both Sparkle in Corning and Santcon here in Elmira. And by the grace of God, and driving a little bit faster than I probably should have, I pulled it off. I did. I actually went to both, and it was awesome. I mean, granted, I'll explain that after I do my NFL picks. And my act of kindness was there were several people I gave holiday gifts to. In one case, it was actually birthday gifts, but actually birthday and holiday gifts. So I pulled that off with a thumb. Okay, so enough beating around the bush. Let's get to my NFL picks for today. Before I do, though, I need to look up something real fast. And by look up something real fast, I mean, what number pick is this going to be today that I'm starting things off with? I think it was 195 the other day. It was 195. Okay. So pick number 196. Now let us begin. Okay, so the Titans and the Browns. I will say the Browns are going to win. It's actually going to be Titans versus Browns. And I will say the Browns. Okay, pick number 197. The Seahawks versus the Falcons. Seahawks. The Colts versus the Jaguars. Colts. The Commanders versus the Vikings. Skol Vikings. The Vikings win. Holy cow. This is huge. We're at pick number 200 of the year. And it's the Bengals versus the Bills. You know what? I can think of no more appropriate pick for pick number 200 than let's go Buffalo. They got the Bills winning. That's crazy. Pick number 201. The Saints versus the Buccaneers. They got the Buccaneers. Okay, the Steelers versus the Ravens. You know what? I'll pick the Steelers to win for once. Okay, let me keep scrolling down some more. Hold on, did I scroll too far? Oh, darn it. Hey. Okay, hold on. Okay, so pick number 203, the Dolphins versus the Jets. Oh, that's a no-brainer. The Jets are terrible. Pick the Dolphins. Okay, let's see. The Broncos versus the Raiders. Another no-brainer. Picking the Broncos. Pick number 205. The Rams versus the Cardinals. Rams. Right. They were advertising this game a lot as I was out and about. The Bears versus the Packers at Lambeau. You know what? The other day after beating the Eagles, I said that, okay, I officially have the Bears on notice. You know what? Against my better judgment, I will pick the Bears. I don't know why either. Like, how is it that the Bears are the Ooh. Okay, you know what? Never mind. I'm picking Green Bay. I ain't picking Green Bay. I ain't picking Green Bay. I am picking the Packers. Go, Pack, go. Okay. And finally, pick number 207. The Texans versus the Chiefs. Okay, for real, if the Chiefs don't win, then they really don't deserve to make the playoffs. So, with all that said, I have the Cleveland Browns being the Tennessee Titans, the Seattle Seahawks being the Atlanta Falcons, the Indianapolis Colts being the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Minnesota Vikings being the Washington Commanders, for pick number 200, pick Buffalo Bills over the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's go Buffalo. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers being the New Orleans Saints, the Pittsburgh Steelers being the Baltimore Ravens, the Miami Dolphins being the New York Jets, the Denver Broncos being the Las Vegas Raiders, the Los Angeles Rams being the Arizona Cardinals, the Green Bay Packers being the Chicago Bears, and the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Houston Texans. Yeah, bring this over here real fast. As always, this is the number of picks I've made so far. That was weird. Number of picks I've made so far. Obviously, every team I've circled here is who I'm picking to win. Feel free to pause and, write down. Wonderful. Okay. Now, there's one thing I gotta grab. Hold on. So, I mentioned earlier in the video that actually, I should back up a bit. See, when 2025 started, and if any of you guys remember that far back, in that video, I tried writing down a list of things that I wanted to do this year. And obviously, as the year has gone on, the list has grown larger. But with pretty much everything that was on the list remained the same that I made earlier in the year. And when I made that list, there were several things that I knew I wasn't going to be able to do until December. Two of those things were Sparkle, that takes place in Corning, and Santcon in Elmira. Now, yes, I did do Santcon on the Old Ithaca Ale Trail last week, but I didn't know I was going to do that earlier this year. But the one thing I feared most of all, and this happened last year too, Sparkle and Santcon were on the same day. And listen, no offense to the people who put on Santcon, did a wonderful job that I saw briefly because I was zooming through everything. I'll get to that in a second. But stop having Santcon the same day as Sparkle. You're I mean, don't get me wrong. For what it was, and for what I was able to accomplish, I did. Within the okay, for reference, I get to Sparkle at around, I don't think it was even 3:30, because I knew parking was going to be terrible. And I actually pulled off the impossible. I got a spot in Emilio's parking lot. Holy cow. That is for Sparkle, that is impossible to do. And I did that. I really should consider playing the lottery. That's how hard it is. And I walked up and down Market Street a bunch of times, looking at all the vendors, seeing all the wonderful people dressed in holiday splendor. It was awesome. Maybe because I was also wearing an extra layer, but it didn't really seem as cold as I thought it'd be. In fact, it was pretty mild in terms of how cold it was. So I stayed there until I got to see my family at around 7 o'clock. And even then, I had to scramble to do a few things, such as seeing Peyton Clark play at Liquid Shoes Brewing. Shout out to Peyton Clark. It's 7:02 when I leave Sparkle. I get to, I don't know how, and again, I was probably driving fast and I should have. I get to Rye Bar, which was the first place that Santcon starts, 20 minutes later. And within the span of that hour, I managed to fill out all of my stamps. Right, I should show you how it works. Basically, you start off at Rye, then you go to Patrick's, then go to Round and Third, then to WMC North, and then finish it off at Illegal Tap House. Yes, I pulled off going. Yeah, sorry if it's a little bit crinkled up. I put it in my pocket at one point. And I'll tell you what, though, the craziness of me doing Santcon that fast, for example, when I got to Round and Third, I was in such a rush, my wallet fell out of my pocket and everything scattered everywhere. That was fun. Okay, so here's the thing about Santcon, and the one major flaw with it. You gotta pay $10, or via purchasing one of the holiday cocktails to get your stamp. Which, I paid the $10, but listen, I'm trying to rush through all this. I don't have time to do all of that. I'll just pay the $10 and I'll get out of Dodge. Actually, Patrick, shout out to Patrick. So they actually cut me a deal. I still paid the $10, but they gave me 2 free drink chips to use for next time. So yeah, I got 2 drink chips from Patrick's. It's pretty sweet. WMC, shout out to WMC North. They had really good food there. It was awesome. And then, Illegal Tap House. I've sung that place. I've sung the praises of that place how many times over the years I've been making these videos? So, you know what? In spite of how fast I was going through Santcon, I can genuinely tell you that I thoroughly enjoyed it. Because, listen, when this year began, and I wrote that 2025 bucket list initially, Santcon was one of the very first things I had on, was one of those things I had on there from the very beginning of the year, because I knew I wanted to do it. And come hell or high water, whether Sparkle was on the same day or not, I was going to get it done. And I did. For the record, what I did, I recommend no one should ever do. Like, I mean, here's the thing. There were some things that, I mean, some places, because you had to pay the $10 and, get the cocktail. Obviously, since I'm driving, I can't really drink it everywhere I go to. Luckily, everywhere else was pretty cool. So I really only had like one drink at WMC North, which was, it was vanilla vodka, cranberry juice, and ginger ale, I believe. That was actually pretty good. But yeah, man, I did Santcon. I'll put the check on it for my bucket list a little bit later today. But yeah, man, I mean, honestly, one of the biggest days of all of 2025. Something that I was thoroughly looking forward to, but also thoroughly dreading, knowing that, again, Santcon and Sparkle were going to be on the same day. And I pulled it off. By some crazy miracle, I pulled it off. I hope next year I don't have to do that again. Seriously, like, why do you need to have Santcon on the same day as Sparkle? Why? Such is life, I suppose. But, pulled it off. And, did this thing just turn off? Oh, no it didn't. Okay. Right. So yeah, got all my NFL picks done. Got my ticket for Santcon to show you guys. Went to Sparkle last night. I'd say yesterday was pretty darn great. I hope you like this video. If you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on social media. As always, I'm here home this video for all of you guys watching Joe. If you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Oh, happy Sunday, everyone. And remember, if you guys want to talk to me, be here to let me always be back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.